Inside of today's video, I'll be showing you guys the best counters to the brand new brawler RT, also his best matchups, and then also a couple of secret balance changes, so make sure you're staying tuned till the very end. So to start with, we'll be taking a look at his baseline stats. So 6,150 HP, one of the more so higher HP brawlers in the game. Only deals 1,050 damage, so not the highest amount, but we'll go into a few things later on. And then when he splits off with his super, he deals 1,860, which is actually a fair amount. You got to consider as well if you hit them twice. So if you hit them with your smaller form and then your higher form, you're going to be dealing, of course, double damage. So that can be pretty insane. So his first gadget is called In the Line. So basically, whenever he splits off from his other form or uses his super, he will shoot like a shot, which you can see right here, which will deal damage and slow the opponents for a couple of seconds. So pretty decent, especially because of his mechanics. He doesn't really have too much of a range in this form. Really help him to close the gap. And the second gadget is called Hack. So whenever you press the gadget, it will just deal the amount of damage it already dealt to them. So it can be pretty decent, especially to finish off kills, but only when they're marked you can press this gadget. First star power is called Quick Maths, and it will basically prolong your mark for an extra 3 seconds. So normally it takes 5 seconds, I believe, but with this star power it will take 8 seconds. So this can be really good in allowing you to get even better damage on the field. And the second star power is called Recording. So when he does split off, the enemies around him will deal 20% less damage. So you can see here, the bot used to deal 500 damage and now only 400 damage. So just compare this to Hardy Hardhat, Jackie's star power. Okay, so starting off with his counters. So actually, just before recording this, there's a couple of ones. The first two are actually the ones before his nerf. He's actually received a nerf literally an hour before sneak peeks are supposed to come out. So you're gonna have to ignore his damage right here. He used to deal 1,500 damage, which was just insane, and also he had like an extra 1,000 HP. So I was actually prepared to make this video and say that it would be the most broken brawler of all time, but thankfully he has received a big nerf to his damage and HP. But anyways, the first counter I think is going to be Buzz. So RT, you know, he's going to be pretty good against tanks sometimes, you know, when he's just about to get his super, as you've probably seen in the clip, but for the most part the best way to deal with an RT is to probably stun him or get on top of him, because he is a ranged unit. So a brawler like Buzz is of course going to be a good counter against him, and considering how strong tanks are going to be with indestructible walls, I think Buzz is going to be the perfect counter to him. Next up we have Daryl. So again, just like Buzz, I think Daryl is going to be a really good counter to RT, just because of that kind of stun feature, because when you roll on top of RT, it will stun him a little bit and it won't give him enough time to take you down. Also, it will definitely lack the damage up close. Now beforehand, he absolutely shredded everyone. Like, I was actually considering not even making this video because I felt like he countered every single brawler, but now I think tanks definitely should be able to counter him pretty well. You guys know already, indestructible walls is definitely going to make tanks one of the best brawlers inside of a game. It's so easy to run tanks pretty much everywhere right now, and Daryl's going to be the perfect counter for him. Moving on to the next direct counter, we have Barley. So with a lot of these brawlers that don't have any wall break aspects, of course throws are going to be pretty decent against them, but just because again these indestructible walls, they're going to favor a lot of different brawlers in the meta, and Barley I think is going to be a decent counter to a lot of brawlers, but specifically RT, because you can stay behind these indestructible walls a lot of the time. RT has no way to close the gap against a Barley. You know, he's not an assassin brawler, he's a pretty sharpshooter brawler, but of course he can go a little bit aggro when he can shoot over walls, but still well, like Jackie can shoot through walls, but with Barley, you can just keep your distance easily, and I just feel like throws are going to easily hard counter this brawler. So next up on the counter list, we have Ash. So again, tanks are just going to be so strong. Ash somehow didn't receive a nerf with the last set of balance changes, so I think he's going to be pretty much the best brawler in the game, if not one of the best. So good everywhere, and the main reason why he's going to be such a good counter against RT is because of his rats. His rats are going to be really good, because against single shot brawlers, the rats are going to allow Ash to push into a certain brawler, you know, remove their ammo, and it's just going to destroy them. The only thing you've got to bear in mind is when he gets his super, he can one-shot those rats, but of course he's not going to be in that form every single time. So for me, Ash is definitely going to be a pretty easy matchup against RT. But again, I was pretty scared because RT beforehand could deal 3k damage once he got that double boost, because of course he did 1,500 and then 3,000, but now it deals 1,000 and 80 around, so only like 2k damage even when someone is marked. So I feel like tanks are definitely going to run all over RT. And lastly, for the counters to RT, we have Sam. So Sam, of course, again, another brawler which is just so strong in this meta. He only received a small nerf to his super damage, but I don't think that's really going to affect him too much. You know, the speed, being able to heal as well all the time, I think it's going to be a huge problem for RT. He's not going to be able to deal with the runner gun style of Sam. And again, indestructible walls, you know, I'm going to keep saying it because it's going to be the point of the meta for the next 2 months or so. You know, with Sam just running it into everything, just being able to use his super into every wall, get that speed boost, get the healing, RT's not going to be able to deal with it. So now going into the good matchups for RTs. So, I mean, this is pretty rushed because I felt like I was going to go into this video and say that RT counters everyone. But now I feel like it's definitely not underwhelming, but definitely a little bit more balanced. So for me, definitely more so of his fellow sharpshooters, it's going to be a really good counter against the squishy brawlers because a lot of times you can two-shot them and then press the gadget and you're gonna kill them immediately. So essentially free-shotting all of the sharpshooters, squishy brawlers. He also, I think, has like the 3rd or 4th best range in the game. I think only Piper, Nanny, and Mandy in her focused range can actually outrange RT. So I feel like his fellow sharpshooters, he's gonna be able to have, if not a decent matchup against, or a better matchup, just because of his slaying power with his gadget. It's going to be pretty strong. And also, if he goes into his other form, you know, they're going to get destroyed as well. So it can kind of go into like a semi-tank mode. So I think RT definitely counters B. So another good matchup for RT has to be like Gus. Again, those kind of mid-range brawlers which are easily outranged by RT. But you'll see in this clip, one thing that I forgot to mention is just how strong the mark can be. You can still mark someone when you're in your split form, and you can deal up to like 4k, 5k damage once you split off immediately, because of course you're shooting from both ends, literally straight away. It's just insane. It really is insane, especially if you're close to super. It only takes 4 shots to get your super. So if you're close to super, you can just go straight for an opponent and take them down so quickly. And especially if they don't have any sort of like cancellation, pushback, or something like that, RT is just going to have a field day on you. So especially in those scenarios when you know you're close to super, you can definitely push up. And that's why indestructible walls are actually going to help this brawler out quite a fair bit, because he's going to be good with those walls and also without it. So RT, he's going to be pretty strong. And we have 2 more balance changes. And so the first one is a nerf to Poco's HP. So before, he used to have 6,000 HP. Now he has 5,550. So Adrian, the guy that does the balance changes, did say that Poco and Grom were on his list, and definitely because of how these indestructible walls are working. Poco was already so strong in unison with other tanks, he would have been way too strong. So definitely making him a lot weaker to other aggro brawlers. He's not going to be as survivable right now. For the final balance change then, we have Grom. You guys will be glad to hear. So his damage used to be 1,740. Now it deals 1,519. We'll test it out with the X Factor. Didn't actually get a chance to try it out before, but I believe it's still quite a high amount of damage. So 1,907. It looks like still a decent amount of damage, but definitely nowhere near as strong as before. He used to be so incredibly broken in so many scenarios, so it's nice to see another Grom nerf. That's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Again, pretty rushed video because it literally changed things an hour before sneak peeks were supposed to come out. But in terms of his best build then, I think Hax is going to be the better gadget, just because this gadget just feels like it's not going to be too easy to hit that slow, whilst this one guarantees damage every single time. And then, to be honest, both star powers aren't really the strongest, but definitely can help him out a little bit. Like quick maths, I suppose, if someone's kind of camping behind a wall and you know, you can't really get a good shot on them, it gives you an additional 3 seconds to get that additional damage onto them, whilst this one's really good for getting more aggro and into their face. And it just depends on the map really, but you know, all of these gears can be pretty solid on RT. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think of the brand new brawler. I know, again, it was just pretty rushed, wasn't the way I really wanted it to be like, but hey ho, I mean, we would have had a super broken brawler if I didn't make these changes. But that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.